welcome to my next edition of the 1/350 scale Enterprise refit model. And this is going to be an in-depth look at the little shuttles that I promised I would do. So the little shuttles are in several parts within the kit. So the normal Starfleet shuttles all come in 3 parts, have a top and they have a bottom, and they also have their engine parts here, so they look like little sleighs. So basically what you do is you put the top and the bottom together, sandwich those together. Now I use Revel glue, which is this one here, and I use that for mainly the plain plastic. If you're using it and you've already painted a model, I advise that you take the paint off the area that is going to be glued together, because it has a better chance of bonding because it's a plastic glue, and also it's not going to melt the paint because it melts paint. Which means you have a bit of a mess to clean up or to sort out when you've had your model glued together and you need to touch up. So once you've done the top, bottom, then you would put the sleigh in. What I then did is I just got a plain old brush or pencil or something, blue tacked on the top of that, stuck the model to that, and then I gave it a coat with some Rust-Oleum primer, in this case white. And just literally coated the whole thing in that, which was just simple. Let that dry, let that cure, do its thing. Then after that I got my airbrush and I used the Revel paint, and it is a light grey. And what all you need to do with Revel paints is just put a little extra bit, just a little bit of water, just a few drops into your little jar that goes into the actual spray thing, and that's all you need with the paint. Obviously mix it up, it sort of thins it slightly, and that's all you need to do. And then so on the pencil I then just lightly airbrushed all that, and of course let that dry, and then once that was done, all I needed to do was add on the decals. So those are all of these ones here. So they've just got tiny like nacelle things and all the little emblems and things like that, and the logo. So what you do is you do what you would normally do with any kind of kit, is once it's all dry I would use some lukewarm water, and I use a solution with that, and that solution is Decal Fix. And so I brush the model with that, I cut out the little decals, I immerse them into the water. So then once that's done, I then just take it off and I just brush it or tweezer it on in place, and then brush it just to get all the water off and position the decal as best I can onto there. And as you can see, they are tiny when they're done. The other thing I had to do with this one is at the back I painted a bit of black on the top ridge, and I also painted black on the window itself. Everything else was just as it was. I didn't really do much more, and that's it really. So that's the main shuttles there. As for the other shuttle, the one that docks into the bridge in the film, this one's a little bit different. So this one has 2 parts, and this one, on the paragraphic set, there is a nice little round upgrade that you can do for the docking port door, which is the back part of it. You glue that on first. I used my normal plastic glue, which is the Revel, and did that. So I sprayed it grey first with the brush, then I did the black after that. Let that dry, sprayed it with varnish, and then did the decals. And they're just so simple. So those are those 2. Then what you have is you've got the little these come in, this next bit is the shuttle pod, and these come in 2 parts. One part which is the bottom part, which is is in your white plastic, and then the top part is in clear. Now for that I sprayed the whole thing, and when I glued it together and did the whole thing, and then I put all the decals on after I varnished and did the same process. Now it has a clear top for a really good reason, which is you can light this, which is an interesting concept. So now fibre optics. Fibre optics are basically a piece of what looks like wire. It's just plastic tubing, really, solid piece of plastic, and it carries light from one point to another. So you light one end of it and the light will emit to the other side. That's what one of those are. You can do all sorts with these, they come in different thicknesses. I got the really thin variety. You will have the light source from the inside of the hull. It goes through the wire, through the fibre optics. So it goes through the wall of the actual ship, tiny hole, and through a tiny hole at the back of the pod, because the pod's got the circle back, and then it goes inside the actual thing. And then you would have, like, you would put in like a silhouette, if you wanted to, of two people, because with power graphics you get a little silhouette set, and then it would light itself up because you've got it lit. With this one I would use some micro crystal clear. Now this is a plastic glue, but it dries clear itself, so it's a lot more sort of, I would say, user friendly in that sense. And there's a lot of areas in my model I wish I used this, but I would say use crystal clear. It's a really good recommendation, and a lot of people use it, so it's got to be good. So I would do the same thing again. So with this, you would prime that one and then spray that into the colour you want. Then I would mask off the window part at the front of this clear plastic piece, and then I would spray that. You would put your little men inside, then you would put then you would glue it together, then you would drill your hole and put your fibre optics through. Test it out with just a simple LED light on a battery and see how it goes, and it should light up the area, which is a really cool idea. Then you can take the masking tape off, and then you can put all the decals on once you've varnished it. So obviously you mask it so that you're not going to paint over the window, and that's what I would do that. And that's some sort of tiny little thing, and I wish I did it. It would have been so much more cool. But and I saved one of them pods for the next model. The other thing that comes with the kit are the little yellow little, I've forgotten the name that they call them. Worker bees, that's the one. I was like, bees. Yeah, worker bees. So these little these worker bees are tiny. They're there. Now they just have this rectangle with a chamfered end. It doesn't have a lot going on with it, because all you do is paint them yellow, and then with the front window you paint that black. Now with power graphics there's two things you can do. I did one of the two things. So the first one is they come in power graphics with a base part that you would attach to the bottom, which is just there, and it has the thicker part goes onto the base of your thing, and those two arms you would bend up, and they represent the grappling arms of the worker bees. So you would put that underneath, and then the other thing is like a gantry thing that it has, that it would trail behind, that you saw in the film, and then it has the pods. So on here there's one that I didn't actually glue into the model, and so it has the worker bee at the front, and then it's got this metal thing that grapples onto all the pods that you have. And the pods also you get from power graphics, and they are flat, and then you bend them into the box, and I just simply primed and sprayed them. And then I did actually glue one of those into the base on the back of the actual Shuttle Bay. So lots of options for you to do. So I'm just going to now show you in the next clip all the photos of my Shuttle Bay. So here is the Shuttle Bay. So there is one of the pods. Then you come to the shuttle and the little Spock shuttle there, and then at the back, just between the two turbolifts, is the worker bee, and then another pod at the back with two figures there. I've got about 4 in total, I think. And there's the Shuttle Bay lit up with the fibre optics. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.